Hello everyone. First, I'd like to introduce myself. I am Louise Eddy. I am the Executive Director of Texas Ear, Nose, and Throat Specialists in Houston, Texas. I am joined this morning by my friends and colleagues, Mr. Bob Glazer of ENT and Allergy Associates, a group comprised of 195 physicians in the New York and New Jersey area, and Kevin Watson, who is the administrator of Colorado ENT and Allergy in Colorado Springs. We're here today to share with you something about our experiences in initiating our membership in the Reg-ent registry and being early adopters of this registry. We hope that we'll be able to make your journey a smooth and easy transition for you by sharing these experiences. First, I'd like to kick things off by sharing just a little bit about the pearls and the perils of my own experience with Reg-ent. Our group was one of the very first adopters of the Reg-ent registry, and we had an excellent experience in the beginning. You might have seen or heard the mini seminar presentation I gave last year about enrolling in the Reg-ent registry. I said it then and I would say it again, it is the easiest thing I've ever done. Reg-ent made it possible for all of us to be connected to the data extractor and get involved in the process with a minimum of hassle and a great deal of hand-holding. It was incredibly straightforward. We didn't really run into any pitfalls in the beginning. However, there's always that however, we did not really appreciate what would be happening and coming next when we tried to get the data out of our EHR systems. Mapping your data completely and thoroughly from your EHR database into the Reg-ent registry is a commitment in terms of time and resources that we frankly did not anticipate. One of the things that is most challenging is identically mapping specific things. How simple would you think it would be to map a numerator and a denominator for whether or not a provider appropriately utilizes topical for acute otitis externa? Seems straightforward to me. I thought we'd get 100% performance on the very first extraction. That did not happen. Because you know what? Providers sometimes put it in a formulary field that's structured. They sometimes put it in a custom formulary field. They sometimes put it in a free text data field. That in and of itself made the process considerably more difficult for that single measure than we had anticipated. We tackled the problem head on. We committed to routine telephone conference calls with the Reg-ent team and the FIG-MD team, where members of my staff and I went through the measures based on the performance extraction data we had from our EHR and compared that measure by measure to what FIG had extracted for the registry. We compared our dashboard to the Reg-ent dashboard, and we meticulously walked through the data for mapping to get correct and accurate data. We learned an important lesson. EHR data can be very disordered. You think you know what you have in your database, and you might, but you might not know how to get it, even though you know it's there. So we found that we had to correct some of the data in our own dashboard reporting inside the EHR before we could accurately work with the Reg-ent registry. My pearls of wisdom really revolve around two things. One, invest the time to do this mapping yourself. Go through your data step by step. Work hand in hand with the FIG and Reg-ent team. Learn where your data sits, let them help you get it out, and move from measure to measure. Secondly, rest assured you have a great team working with you. The people at FIG and the people at Reg-ent are there to help you succeed. Follow their advice, work through the data extraction, map measure by measure, and ultimately you will find that you have a usable data set that's beneficial to you for your reporting purposes. Bob, I believe you had some of the same experiences?
Yep, we had very similar experiences with the data mapping that Louise and her group did. We took a slightly different approach up front in that we had one of our physicians, Dr. Lauren Zaretsky, intimately involved from the very beginning. Dr. Lauren Zaretsky has been involved with the Academy at several levels over the years and is a big part of our practice in one of our locations out in Long Island. Together with Dr. Zaretsky, I also teamed her with the head of our EHR implementation team, a gal named Jen Simone. We did this early on so that we had our mapping calls, we had clinician insight into how our patient visits, treatments, and therapies should be documented in the EHR to compare and contrast the data in our Reg-ent dashboard. In our mapping work, we did uncover some opportunities to educate our physicians on appropriate documentation that will assure that our success to the measures in the future. We currently use our EHR-generated reports and will look to doing a crosswork much like what you've done. To be honest though, we find the real value in this partnership where we can focus our efforts on the Academy QC-DR measures. We feel we can really contribute and move the bar on these measures. So on our next round of calls, mapping calls, we will be focusing on these in addition to the MIPS measures, including acute otitis externa. Louise, I must reiterate your points onto how important it is to invest the time in validating your data. I have to also share that practices do need to focus more on the non-MIPS measures available in Reg-ent as well. These measures, built specifically for the practice of otolaryngology head and neck surgery, I know that they will be entirely new portfolio of measures available in 2018 that will be available only on the Reg-ent registry, having covered a broad spectrum of otolaryngology practice. Kevin, comments?
You know, you guys have talked in great length about making sure that the data is mapped correctly. And I think it's important that we realize that the physicians in our practices provide great quality work to our patients, and that needs to be reflected in the registry. The data that's there needs to reflect the quality work that our physicians are doing every day. So it's important that you guys talked about making sure that that data is mapped correctly. You know, and then when MIPS coming on board, you know, our first year this year, and the percentages of our reimbursement that are going to be based on MIPS in the future, it's really important that the data that's in the registry is reflective of the work we're doing in our clinic so that we get credit in MIPS. And the registry is the only such registry in our specialty. And so the other measures that are in there, the non-MIPS measures, which you touched on, it's important that we get that right as well so that we can build this unique otolaryngology registry that's, you know, has the data of the work we're doing every single day. You know, Colorado ENT and Allergy is an early adopter as well. As you guys know, we're a little bit smaller practice than you are, but you know, I'm the immediate past president of the Association of Otolaryngology Administrators, and I'm committed to making sure that the mid-sized groups like ourselves and the smaller groups will be able to participate in Reg-ent and have the same successful experience that you have. And so I want to get the word out to those groups that you can participate in the registry and that Reg-ent is doing everything they can to make sure you can. In fact, even if you're still using paper in your practice, there are processes and tools to make sure that you can participate in the registry and report for MIPS as well. Also, they can secure, if you're having difficulty working with your EHR vendor in order to upload the data into Reg-ent, FigMD will work with you to secure that data and make sure that you can participate as well. You know, we've worked hard to launch Reg-ent, and we've done that, and there's still work we need to do, but we're committed to it because we believe that it is a very effective investment, that we're going to receive the return on that investment in the future. And we want to make sure that the data that's in the registry reflects practices of all type. We want it to reflect the whole entire specialty. Large practice, small practice, different subspecialties in otolaryngology. So it's important that every practice in otolaryngology is participating.
And I would say, Kevin, I think that's a really important point. every otolaryngologist in this country should consider strongly joining Reg-ent now. What we're building is a database of almost undefinable value to this specialty. What we put into it will say to any regulatory agency, to any research group, to any special interest group using the data, this is what we do. This is how we work. This is the real world of otolaryngology day by day. If you don't participate, you don't include your data, you don't make the investment, then the entire effort is weakened by one less person, two less people participating in it. This is the best, most involved initiative the Academy has had in a very long time at least for building the future. This entire meeting has been focused on the future of ENT. And this is really it. Data is the future. You hear it all the time. Otolaryngological data is our future. And if we don't own it and manage it and share it and build with it and invest in it, then who's going to? And I just want to thank you all for coming out today and sharing your experiences. I think that this is an investment you've made, like many other groups we know, and we made it because we believe this is the future of otolaryngology and owning our data. So we are thrilled to have been here today. We are thrilled that the Academy has engaged us in this participation. Kevin mentioned the AOA. We want all the administrators and all the providers to work together because it really does take a whole team of people across this country to make this work. We hope that we've given you some ideas of best practices for approaching this. Any of us would be glad to speak with you and share our experience and help you to work through the Reg-ent process. If you haven't already signed up, please visit regent.org today and do so. It is our future and it's your future. Thank you.